The unseen epidemic defining modern slavery. Modern slavery is a global crisis, hiding in plain sight. It's a complex issue often operating beneath a veil of normalcy, but let's be clear, modern slavery is a brutal reality for millions around the world. It thrives on exploitation and thrives in the shadows. This isn't just about shackles and chains, it's about the deprivation of one's freedom and autonomy. It's forced labor in fields and factories. It's the trafficking of men, women, and children for sex work. It's forced marriage, where individuals are stripped of their right to choose, and it's happening everywhere. From the bustling cities of developed nations to remote villages in the developing world, modern slavery knows no bounds. It preys on the vulnerable, exploiting poverty, conflict, and desperation. We can't afford to ignore this issue any longer. It's time to shine a light on this dark corner of our world and fight for the freedom of every human being. A global scourge: statistics and distribution. The numbers are staggering and paint a grim picture of the scope of this crisis. According to the United Nations, an estimated 50 million people are trapped in modern slavery today. That's more people than the entire population of Canada. This isn't just a problem in far-off lands. The United States, despite its image as a beacon of freedom, is not immune. The U.S. Department of State estimates that thousands are subjected to human trafficking within its borders each year. The Asia-Pacific region, home to over half the world's population, harbors the largest number of modern slaves. However, no region is spared. From the cocoa farms of West Africa to the construction sites of the Middle East, this human rights abuse is a global epidemic. These statistics are more than just numbers on a page. They represent real people. They are mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, stripped of their dignity and forced to live in the shadows. It's time to bring their plight into the light. The price of exploitation: economic impacts. Modern slavery isn't just a moral outrage, it's a financial engine fueled by greed. The International Labor Organization estimates that forced labor generates a staggering $150 billion in illegal profits annually. This illicit industry thrives on the backs of the vulnerable, robbing them of their wages and their futures. The economic impact extends far beyond the victims themselves. When individuals are trapped in forced labor, they can't contribute to the formal economy, they don't pay taxes, they don't have the opportunity to build a better life for themselves or their families. This creates a vicious cycle of poverty and exploitation. Moreover, the presence of forced labor creates unfair competition for businesses that play by the rules. Companies using forced labor have a significant cost advantage, allowing them to undercut competitors and distort markets. The fight against modern slavery is not just about human rights, it's about economic justice. It's about creating a level playing field where everyone has the opportunity to succeed based on their hard work and merit, not on their vulnerability to exploitation. Section 4. Shackles in the land of the free prison labor in the U.S. The United States, a nation founded on the ideals of liberty and justice, has a dark secret prison labor. The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, while abolishing slavery, includes a loophole that allows for involuntary servitude as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. This exception has been exploited, creating a system where millions of incarcerated individuals are forced to work for little or no pay. They produce goods, provide services, and generate billions of dollars for state and private industries, all while being denied even a minimum wage. One particularly egregious example is the case of Corecraft, New York State's prison labor program. Corecraft produces everything from furniture to license plates, generating millions in revenue each year. Inmates who refuse to work face solitary confinement, loss of privileges, and even longer sentences. This system isn't just exploitative, it's unjust. It perpetuates racial disparities in the criminal justice system, disproportionately impacting Black and brown communities. It undermines the very principles of rehabilitation and reintegration that should be at the heart of our correctional system. Section 5. Fighting for freedom, combating modern slavery. The fight against modern slavery is a fight for the soul of humanity. It's a fight we can't afford to lose. But it's a fight we can win. It requires a multi-pronged approach, addressing root causes and empowering communities. Governments must enact and enforce strong anti-slavery laws. Businesses must ensure their supply chains are free from forced labor. Consumers can demand transparency and ethical sourcing. Organizations like the International Justice Mission, Free the Slaves, and Polaris are working tirelessly. They rescue victims, provide legal aid, and advocate for change. But they can't do it alone. Each one of us has a role to play. We can educate ourselves about the issue. We can support organizations working to end slavery. We can use our voices to raise awareness and demand justice. The fight against modern slavery is a marathon, not a sprint. With sustained effort, we can create a world where every human being is free.
Kent police freed a number of possible modern-day slaves in a series of raids on homes and businesses.
Morning. Hope you're happy.
They arrested 3 people, including car wash owner. They've been investigating a suspected organised crime group connected to human trafficking, modern slavery and money laundering. The police began looking into the case after Al Jazeera aired an undercover report on the mistreatment of people working at car washes at Volvo and Kia dealerships.
He worked for weeks with no pay. I haven't done that to anybody.
Hidden camera footage by a Romanian national called Claudio showed how foreign workers were being treated, doing 12-hour days for less than half the minimum wage and living in bad conditions.
How much did he pay you today?
£40.
For how many days?
Just for this week.
Superintendent Eddie Fox said the raids were the culmination of months of police and interagency work. Our priority right now is to secure evidence of any offences while safeguarding any vulnerable people who may have been exploited. The British government estimates there are between 10 and 13,000 potential victims of slavery in the UK. Last year, more than 3,000 people were referred to the authorities as possible slaves, more than the year before, and a third of them were children. The Kent police says one of the challenges is that foreign workers may not know they're the victims of crimes. The 21 people released in this case are not anymore.
Didn't do the thing. People are not subscribed. Please subscribe.